This is a short one. It's the two-parter. This is part one. I'm going to keep it nice and short. This is all about buying and selling a business. Very fraught subject. Everybody argues about this, and it's subject to a lot of skullduggery and shady dealings. So you've got to pay attention if you're in the business of, or if you want to buy or sell a business. Please pay attention. Don't just be bamboozled by some broker or some mate who's got a friend who can do a deal and they've got a sweet deal. And so, be careful. There's a lot of money involved and you can get burnt very, very badly. And at all levels, we only have to mention the company EMI to see that it happens to the big boys as well as to the little boys. And, oh, by the way, from the previous video, I found my glasses. Well, my wife found my glasses and she laughed at me. And I won't tell you where they were, but it was very silly. And then she put them somewhere, said, at least I've now put your glasses somewhere where you will always find them. And I haven't worked out where that is, but there you go. Corner shops tend to be worth the building and nothing more. If it's a rented corner shop, I'm going to show you how in this particular instance, the rented corner shop was actually worth minus £10,000. It was a couple. The husband worked about 60 hours a week in the corner shop and the wife worked 40 hours, and of course she had children to look after, and they had 3 part-timers, and at the end of each year they had, roughly speaking, around 80,000, some years a bit more, some years a bit less. They took out 20,000 as income, and 60 is subject to corporation tax, so roughly speaking, they got out of it somewhere around 70,000 net. A broker rocked up and he said to them that, look, you do realize that your shop is worth at least 200,000, maybe 80,000 gross, so that would be 3 times profit. That's 240,000. We'll sell that for you for 240,000. Oh, that sounded like a dream come true. They went to a lawyer, and the lawyer read the contract and just said, whatever you do, don't sign this contract. They came that close to signing that contract. What the reality was the contract was fulfilled if the ownership of the shop changed. The broker didn't have to do anything. They could, if they gave it away to their son, the broker would want his brokerage fee, which I honestly don't know what it was. I think it was probably somewhere around £10,000. Could have been even more, could have been 20, 25. The reality of why that business was worthless was because it's like this. Man 60 hours, wife 40 hours, that's 2.5 people. Let's say 3, because you need somebody for the holiday. They never took a holiday. They never took time off. They just worked and worked and worked. If you look at that as a business, a standalone business, that somebody would buy and then put somebody else in to run it, it's worth nothing or a minus figure for a whole load of good reasons. You'd have to put in a manager at 40,000. That is, he wants 30,000, and that'll cost you, don't forget payroll taxes and other things, 40,000. You need an assistant manager. That'll cost you, with payroll taxes, at least 30,000. And then after that, you need at least 2 part-timers to fill in the mornings and evenings, and that'll cost you 20,000. So now you're looking at a wage bill of just 90,000. In other words, the shop was making a £10,000 loss. The reality was, of course, what they had in that shop was 2 rather good jobs. You have to always be careful. There's nothing wrong with spending a little money to get a job, but it's a job, not a business. If you're buying a standalone business and you're not integrating it into your business, it's a standalone business, then it costs money to own a business. Perhaps you only have to put somebody in 1 day a month. You know, Mrs. Millie Tooley from accounts. She goes in there 1 day, goes through all the books, looks at everything, checks the stock. She spends a whole week there. Well, that's a week's wages that you have to put in. And that means that's an extra 10,000 a year just to own that business, the cost of owning that business. Now, also remember, valuations, if somebody comes to you and says, double turnover or double profit or 1 times profit minus this plus this and so on, this gives you a valuation of X hundred thousands. That is BLX of the highest order, right? A business is, if you're buying a business is only of what it is worth to you. Watch out for small businesses that are completely dependent on one man's vision, or one man's connections, or one man's know-how and energy. That could also mean that it is one man dependent. That's a very bad idea. Number 4 to remember, TUPE laws. Right? Transfer of ownership and personnel and employment obligations, right? TUPE, you've got to realize that if they've got staff, you take them over. You can't throw them out and say, well, my brother-in-law can work in there. That ain't gonna fly. Number 5, the new owner may not be able to take over key staff or key customers. They may leave. That is a big danger, that the owner leaves and the customers leave with them. So that's number 5. Number 6, a new owner may trigger contracts that you haven't read and you weren't party to. Now, I know of a recording studio which actually made a profit, which is unusual for most recording studios, but this one was profitable. But it was in a leased building. And when the last of the 2 owners died, although the studio was being run by the son, had been for many years, when they died, that was the leasee who was gone. They had personally leased the building. So they lost the building, lost the business, it's gone. You couldn't sell that business because the lease went with the owner. Number 7, look for equity. That's an important point. Never mind magic numbers about multiples of this, that, and the other. Look for equity. That's the building, the machine park, receivables, intellectual property, all these things. That's where the real value of the company lies. Number 8, don't buy promises. Buy reality. Look at the profit and loss. Don't buy promises. If somebody says to you, you know, this business has got great potential. Ooh, yes. Well, you should have realized that potential then. Sell the profits if you're selling, or buy the profits. That's number 9. You're selling and buying the profits. You're selling and buying the principles of the business. You're selling and buying the business. You're not selling and buying fantastic products. Don't sell or buy something because the product is great. Look at whether they're actually making a profit. And if you're selling, sell the business, don't sell how wonderful your widget is. And number 10, everybody should do huge amounts of due diligence on everybody involved, right? Including senior staff. I will put a few company sites that can help you to check whether they've had failed companies in the past, if the head salesman has also got some sort of sneaky deal going that he perhaps shouldn't have. He's a director of a rival company you know nothing about. Due diligence on everybody, what they've been up to in the past, very important. And if you want to read up on this subject, there is a great website called ukbusinessbrokers.com, and you go to their page called Knowledge Base. It's run by my old friend Clinton. He knows his stuff. Go and have a look at what he's got to say about buying and selling companies. You can read all about it in great detail.